time to talk about some haters. So, as of the day of the recording of this video, we are 3 days in to the Nintendo Switch 2 existing for real. And of course, as we all know, and as I've mentioned on my few videos since the reveal, there are a lot of opinions flying, and I think overall, the conversation and the reception is generally very positive, which is great to see. I am very positive on the Switch 2. I can't wait to see what they show us in April. I am ready for the games. I want to understand any more hidden features they haven't yet shown us. I want to see more of the mouse functionality of the Joy-Con 2s in actual practical use. My whole last video was about that, and applying it to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and other genres, and how that could actually be really cool if implemented properly. But even though there are a lot of positive reactions to the Switch 2's reveal, the official reveal of course, there are a lot of people who are maybe unhappy or upset, or who are just haters, and they feel like the Switch 2 is boring. Now, part of this of course has to do with the fact that 90% of what the Switch 2 was leaked in the months leading up to the reveal from Nintendo this past week, and I made a whole video discussing that on if the leaks and the images and all the stuff that we saw really did hurt or impact the reveal of the Switch 2 and some people's reception to seeing the Switch 2. But even outside of anyone who might have been negatively impacted by the leaks, there's a different level of negative reception that we're seeing, and it just has to do with the fact that there are a lot of folks who feel like the Switch 2 is just a boring concept because it is nothing more than just another Switch. So I want to really dive into why I think that, for the most part, this is kind of just a general approach that I'm taking, because there are scenarios where it's okay to be maybe less interested or enthused about the Switch 2 in a normal way, and then there's the way to just be over the top and ridiculous, and in my opinion, very, very hypocritical. And so that's really what I want to dive into, is the larger contingent of people who are claiming and complaining about the Switch 2 being boring are really mostly hypocrites, and I just find it both annoying and also kind of funny. I'm sorry, but the Switch 2 looks lame. They took everything fun about it and made it lame. No. Sorry, but in my opinion, Nintendo has been very lazy, and the lack of innovation and creativity on the Switch 2 is blowing my mind. Better graphics or whatever is new. God, the Switch 2 looks lame. Like, dude, all it changed was a slight model tweaking and a tiny bit bigger, and they changed how you plug the controllers. Is the Switch 2 weird enough? If the Switch 2 is just a better Switch, I'll be a bit disappointed. Where's that trademark Nintendo weirdness? Where's the surprise twist? If Switch 2 is the end of innovative Nintendo, there's much to be sad about. What happened to the company that used to surprise people? So, yeah, those are the kinds of things that we're seeing from people, and the kind of negative reactions for people who feel like, oh, the Switch 2 being just a better Switch is simply not good enough for them. It's boring. Nintendo has an obligation to do something so quirky and weird and specific and different that they refuse to accept anything that is an improvement over what they did for the past 8 years, which, by the way, has been obscenely successful. And I find this very hypocritical for a few reasons, but the biggest one is because I guarantee you 99% of people who are reacting that way, not 100%, okay, so I'm leaving room for those of you who are just being normal levels of disappointed, but 99% of the people with these kinds of reactions, whether you're regular people talking about it on social media or these journalists and article outlets that are talking about it this way, they were probably the same people for years, saying all Nintendo needs to do is make a better Switch. I know the internet has a short memory, but I do not. And as somebody who's been doing YouTube for a long time, following gaming for a long time, and also just pays attention to what's going on out there, I can remember even as long as 2 years ago, when conversations about a next generation Switch or a Switch 2 started to really take off. I, of course, started talking about it around early 2020, when people were still focused on the Switch Pro. But I don't know, I want to say around 2 years ago, the Switch Pro conversation was pretty much dying or dead, and people were moving on to discussing a next generation Switch 2 console. And at that time, whenever most people talked about what should Nintendo do to follow up the Switch, 99% of the conversation and of these people, like I used in these examples, were saying, don't fix what ain't broke, don't do something weird and goofy and alienate people, don't pull another Wii U, just make a better, more powerful Switch. It's working now, it'll work again, that's all we want. Again, this was the conversation from most of the community and the gamers out there. All we want is to take what we love about the current Switch and make it bigger and more powerful and just better. And oh, what did we see this past Thursday? A bigger, better, more powerful Switch. Like, it kind of boggles the mind and it frustrates me. And keep in mind, I want to reiterate, I know I said it once already, I'm going to say it again here. Everyone is allowed to still have their own normal, organic, opinion-focused reactions. So it is okay for any one person to look at the reveal of a new product, a new piece of gaming hardware, a new movie, a new whatever, a new tennis shoe. You know, some people collect tennis shoes and maybe they look at a new tennis shoe reveal and that thing doesn't excite them the way they thought, you know, and that is okay. So I'm trying to tread a very specific line where it's okay for every person to have their own organic reactions to things and opinions, and no one is obligated to think the Switch 2 looks amazing or to be excited about it. Okay, I promise you that is okay. But I'm talking about the extreme people, and I'm talking about the whole entire, from a high level conversation we've been seeing happen on YouTube and in the kind of gaming space and community online for years, where the general sentiment, again, if you're one of the normal people, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the general sentiment for 2 years was just make a better Switch. Don't screw it up like you have in the past. Make just a better Switch. That's all we want. And so we see that happen. Nintendo gives us what most people have been asking for years, including the kinds of people like the examples I used here. And suddenly these same people are now not happy with it and they're saying it's boring. Well, to that I say, make up your damn minds. Look, I hate to have to do this and throw my beloved Wii U under the bus because, as a lot of you guys know who follow me, I love the Wii U. I defend the Wii U. I still play the Wii U. I was playing it yesterday and I'm going to continue playing it this weekend because I'm just feeling some Wii and Wii U games. However, it cannot be denied that coming off of the mega successful Wii, Nintendo's Wii U console, the confusing reveal, the wonky marketing, all hurt that console. It only sold 13.5 million units. It was not a big success. And things like the weird marketing and even the name, unfortunately, led to that. Now, I still think the console was great. I think that they delivered on games, both on the first party and the third party front. And I think the gamepad controller is amazing when used properly. And a lot of games did use it properly. Not every game did, but a lot did. So I still think it should have been a success. However, Nintendo made some missteps early on. The name and the concept was one of them. And so it never took off and it was a commercial failure, unfortunately. And so when we look at what happened there, Nintendo went from a crazy Wii console that was super successful. Then they took a pretty big gamble and did some goofy things and these Nintendo surprises that I love and that a lot of these people are also asking for. That didn't pay off for them. So they then went to the Switch. The Switch is their most successful home console of all time. It is a runaway success. This is the time, one of the few times even I will say this, we're playing it safe is the right call. And I will remind you, a lot of these people complaining were the ones saying, don't do what you did with the Wii U. Avoid a Wii U catastrophe. Play it safe by making a better Switch. And so for the 7th time in this video, I will remind you that's exactly what Nintendo has done with the Switch 2. And so really, all that I'm doing in this video is kind of venting and getting out some of my frustrations about, I think, the lack of logic. If there's anything that gets to me, you know what grinds my gears? It takes a lot for anything video game related to get me, like, quote unquote heated. It can happen. It has happened on videos in the past, but this is just a hobby I do on the side for fun, playing games and even running this YouTube channel. But one thing that does get me heated is a lapse in logic, man. Illogical thoughts, statements, people who cannot stay consistent, sentiments that cannot stay consistent. And a lot of these examples and other things that we've all seen online the past few days since the Switch 2 was revealed are perfect examples of that. That's the thing that's got me crazy. I already said there is a level of it's okay for someone to not be excited about the Switch 2, at least until we learn more, because let's not forget, we have a lot more to learn. We got a Direct in April. We need to understand the games, the launch day games, the launch year games. What other features can the Switch 2 do that maybe we don't even know about? How powerful will it really be? These are still things that we need to know. Okay, so until we learn that stuff, it's okay for someone to just like, whatever. You're not obligated to love the Switch 2, like I said. But again, we see people, this sentiment in the industry that over the last few days is now vastly different than what most of these people were saying in the last year to 2 years. When they said just make a more powerful Switch. Just play it simple, play it safe, don't fix what ain't broke. And that's still true. And look, I say this as somebody who, I wouldn't be sad if Nintendo made another traditional home console with just a goofy controller. I don't need the hybrid functionality of the Switch. I don't play portably, so I mean, if I could have just picked, I would have said make the follow-up to the Switch just another box that sits under your TV only and just give me some weird gimmicky controller concept that can play normal games but also goofy Nintendo games, and that would make me the most happy. I don't need a portable hybrid Switch thing. But also, I still love the Switch. It's had an incredible library. The Switch 2 is very satisfying to me in concept. A bigger, better Switch. It's more powerful. I know I'm going to get a better version of Metroid Prime 4 on it. I can just feel it in my bones, and that matters to me more than anything. The next Mario game, the next Zelda game, all these other future IPs, the return of maybe Star Fox and F-Zero. Third-party games probably coming out in force, hopefully. This is an exciting future to me, and so all of these people who have not been consistent, to me, are hypocrites. Everyone said just play it safe for years. Now we see Nintendo playing it safe. And suddenly these same people are flipping the script and, oh no, this is boring. Nintendo, we want surprises. How many of you people crying to the heavens saying you want Nintendo to surprise us were not happy with the surprise of the Wii U and probably turned your back on it and didn't buy and support the Wii U? A fantastic console, might I add. Most of you people complaining about this absolutely didn't like the surprise of the Wii U, so don't you dare ask for Nintendo to surprise you now with the Switch 2. None of it makes sense. It drives me crazy. So, I had a lot to say. Emotions were high. I don't like illogical, inconsistent statements in people. And so you've heard what I have to say. Share your own thoughts below. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.